Good evening. Episode 2 of my Spanish dancer, my cancer journey. So I listened to what I had produced yesterday, and look, it's not good, it's not bad, it's just me verbalizing how I'm feeling. I'm pretty anxious. Surgery's coming up, but one of the things that I said I would talk about is the cost. I got the cost in from the anaesthetist today, and it said in his pro forma, it's almost, I'm apologising, but I'm about to charge you a butt ton of money. Now his fees, $3,800, basically minus $850 rebate, leaves me out of pocket about $2,900. Now that's just for the anaesthetic for the 4-hour surgery, and the surgeon has quoted me round about, I think out of pocket I'll be about $13,500. So looking so far at around about $17,000, which puts that on the absolute bang on the median for robotic assisted prostate surgery in Australia. There is a paper on it. I'll put a link up. It's quite interesting. What are we paying for? My options are to go through the public healthcare system. If I go through the public healthcare system, they'll get rid of the cancer. That's not the problem. But what I'm not guaranteed to get if I go through public healthcare is I'm not guaranteed to get a return to sexual function. And really, that's what you're paying for. You're paying for a more experienced surgeon of your choice who is very, very, acutely aware of your diagnosis, of your cancer, of your life circumstances, and who is very skilled at protecting those very, very fine nerves around the prostate that preserve and inhibit erectile dysfunction. So if you go for radiation therapy, there's still a chance of erectile dysfunction. There are chances of essentially burns, fistulas, where you essentially get breakthroughs between the rectum and the penis, which sounds terrible. You can get scarring. If you have radiation therapy, basically that inhibits you or limits your options for having surgery later on. So really, you're at a fork in the road. You can't go down radiation therapy unless that is the option recommended by a surgeon. You can't go down the surgery option and then go for radiation therapy, or you know what I'm saying. You can't do one and then cherry pick and then do the other. You either go down path A, which is robotic assisted surgery, or you go down path B, which is the radiation therapy. Now, the other thing that I wanted to branch into is that when you have cancer, every bloody do-gooder has heard of a miracle cure that they feel absolutely compelled to tell you about. And in this case, it was a family member who rang up and said, "Oh, have you heard of whatever it was, laser knife? Cyber knife. No, I haven't heard of that. Oh, look, it's a new technique. Some of my mates have had really, really good success with it. Oh, okay, well, who?" And I'm thinking, are you kidding me? I'm already on a path with very, very good medical advice that says the best option for me is surgery. And you, person who shall remain unnamed, who are completely medically unqualified to give any advice at all, are telling me that I should go and look at this miracle cure. And it turns out that CyberKnife is simply another type of radiation treatment. And I think I've already been down that path. I've already spoken to a professor of radio-oncology in Newcastle. He said, radiation treatment is not for you. The chance of that giving you cancer, as I said in the first podcast, the first interview, listen to me, I'm such a professional, is greater than the risk of the cancer that you've already got. So basically, if you're on this journey with me, and if people start to tell you about miracle cures, you've really got to shut it down, because the people you need to listen to is not bloody Google, but it's your surgeon, it's your urologist, it's your general practitioner, it's the medical specialists. And yeah, okay, I'm bitching and griping that they drive Ferraris and make a lot more money than I do, but that's okay. I just maybe made poor life choices at the start of my career.
You want to go home and rethink your life?
I want to go home and rethink my life.
Or I'm too dumb to be a surgeon. Whatever, doesn't matter. So anyway, that's what I wanted to cover, the cost of the surgery, and what happens with the medical disclosures that you give here in Australia. Once you basically say, yes, I'm happy to pay these fees, if the surgery goes longer, you've given consent for them to charge basically whatever they like. So even though at this point the cost is going to be out of pocket around about $2,940 for the anesthetic. If it goes longer, then I have to pay more, and I've already agreed to pay more, even though it's out of my hands. Fair, unfair, it is what it is. I'm hoping that in 5 years, this will be a blip. Everything will be working well. I won't have continence problems. I'll be back on the nest, and things will be ticking away, and I won't have harbored any resentment about the cost of this bloody operation. And anyway, I'm just reading, because I've kept a cancer diary, and I recommend that you do the same. And that goes through the date that things happened, the cost of things, the discussions that you have with your medical specialists, specifically your urologist, who will become your surgeon if you go down the surgical route, or your radio oncologist. Now, again, radio oncology, generally it's for older men who, if you get cancer from the radiation from the radio oncology, if you're in your 70s or 80s, they don't really care as much, to be blunt, because if you die from a cancer that they cause, you're already close to the end of your life anyway, because you're in your late 70s and early 80s. But for me at 53, they don't want to compromise my quality of life by giving me a tumour that could kill me in 20 years. But at 70, something else is likely to get you, probably a bad prawn on a cruise ship. And at the end of the day, your surgeon will give you guidance, but it is going to be your decision. As I said in the first video I made, I was looking at active surveillance, and I thought, yep, I'll keep kicking the can down the road, knowing that I've got cancer. How long do I want to do that for? Originally, I thought, I can do this for 12 months, 2 years. And as my wife said, look, another 2 years, 3 years of normal sexual function, normal life, it's okay. Like if you have your PSA test, even with the problems that I described in the first video about having a second, and what I did mention is you need an MRI as well as a second biopsy. The MRI, that's fine. You're lying on your back, not a big deal. The second biopsy, the third biopsy, you need a biopsy every 12 months. They are a really big deal. Like you're out with local anesthetic, and you are going to, basically, you've got cancer cells in your prostate. You already know that. You're stirring them up. You're mixing them around. So it does, very small, but there is an increased risk of secondary tumours because of the biopsy. So you've got to consider that every time you have a biopsy, it's not a minor insignificance, it's a pretty big deal. So I was looking down the active surveillance route, met this other surgeon, did a PSMA PET scan, and as I said in the first video, that showed prostate lit up like a Christmas tree, but no other secondary metastases, nothing in the bones, nothing in the lymph nodes, which is bloody great news. So surgery for me, and I'm not sure what I'm going to talk about in the next video because the surgery is coming up pretty soon. I don't know if scared is the term, but I'm anxious about this. You know, the closer you get to the surgery date, basically the knowledge never leaves you. The treatment, the future path of incontinence training, which is all your pelvic floor exercises, which I've had a couple of friends that have reached out to me when they've found out what's going on, and they've said, mate, do your pelvic floor exercises and do core exercises. So they are going to really, really help you. And I'll be really interested. As I said, I cycle. What do I cycle? Between 70, 80, 100, up to 150 Ks a week. So not that hardcore. I also do martial arts. I train karate twice a week. That's pretty full on with your core training. Now, I can't do any kind of training, which is going to kill me, but cancer won't. I can't do any kind of training for 3 months. So I've got to rely on my core being strong for the next 3 months to help with preventing incontinence. So being able to help with the pelvic floor, being able to manage basically having leaking and weeping wee for the next 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months. It's absolutely going to happen. I just need to understand and suffer for the period that it happens for, and work on doing my pelvic floor exercises, which I'm doing now, and you can't even tell. Anyway, that's video number 2, guys. So go and get your PSA done, and stay tuned. I'm going to share what the surgery is like, what the recovery is like, how I'm feeling, and basically how the journey's going.